Hey, this is Svetlana from COB LED Cosplay, and today I'm going to show you how I made a shiny sword, the gorgeous Heng Blade from Whirlwind's meat, completely out of EVA foam, and the best, it even lights up. I personally love creating cool stuff with my own hands instead of using the 3D printer. So even though we actually got the original 3D model from the publisher, I decided to craft everything from scratch instead. And was this smart? Maybe not, but will it be fun? Definitely! So now, let's start crafting! First though, let's check out my reference of the Heng Blade, which is, I think, absolutely gorgeous. It has a long straight shaft and very pretty golden ornaments inspired by the Tang dynasty. In the game, your attacks can actually be charged up, which makes your sword glow very bright. So I thought, why not add some LEDs into the blade as well to emulate this effect. If you watch many of our videos, you know that every prop starts with a blueprint. Once Benny finished it and I decided on a fitting size, 1m30 m by the way, the fun could begin. For stability, I chose a 4mm thick steel rod and began separating my template. The first part was traced to 5mm high density EVA foam, then cut out and stacked using contact cement. The rod fit perfectly in, and this would be also the base for my LED strips. I used here an addressable COB strip with 180 pixels per meter, programmed in CircuitPython and a Feather M4 chip, and glued it directly onto the material. For diffusion, I went for 2 layers of 7mm LED foam. Yes, that's the official name, but you can also Google for Plasticity 45. Absolutely love this stuff. I surely had to cut in some space for the LEDs, but other than that, everything fit perfectly. Next up, I gave my blade some Dremel love, and the result looked already so nice. For the grip, I grabbed a UPVC pipe that was fit for heat shaping, made sure my strip would fit in, carefully heated it up with a heat gun and pressed it into the right shape. Some quick drilling for the switch later, and I simply slammed on the grip with hot glue onto the blade. A ton of extra hot glue on top for a really solid connection. Here went the switch, and this was my circuit and battery. I was barely able to squeeze it in, but that was good enough. Next on, I wrapped the grip with 2mm foam, and the base of the sword was done. Already loved the result and couldn't wait to add all the details. First though, I wanted to build the sheath first. So let's check out the reference again. Very pretty, very detailed. And it just fit onto my foam luckily. The plan was basically to build a long box out of 5mm foam. It just had to be not too wide and not too tight for the blade. And hopefully it wouldn't turn out super wobbly as well. But after all parts were glued together, I got indeed a perfect fit. Yay! As you can see on my hands though, dremeling it nice and round was definitely a lot of work. My hands were tingling and completely covered with dust. But this smooth look was absolutely worth it. So happy! Now onto the details. The first steps were still pretty simple, as I added some 2 and 5mm wraps here and there, made sure the grip fit perfectly onto the sheath, and covered the edges with some decorative strips. I glued them some magnets into the material so I could reach the battery and chip quite easily. Finally though, I reached the limit of my traditional crafting skills, as the following details were just too tiny and elaborate to be cut out and engraved by hand. But we have the technology. One of my favorite tools is actually our massive laser cutter from Flux. And it's just perfect, not only to cut out all the little swirlies and ornaments, but even to engrave them. Obviously, we didn't just press a button and our foam pieces were magically done. In fact, Benny spent hours to create all the vector files for the machine, and gluing everything together took forever as well. Some parts were also definitely more challenging than others, and especially the dragon at the end gave me some head itches. But I absolutely loved the step of adding all the details. Seeing how fast the blade and sword came together was extremely satisfying, and with every single piece the build became more and more pretty. Watching this video, it might actually look like everything was super easy and straightforward, but it took Benny and me actually 4 full days to complete the foam version of the Heng Blade. And we were already so proud of the result. What do you say? The whole painting was still missing though. Also, if you never heard of Where Winds Meet, it's a really pretty open-world RPG set in ancient China. It combines cinematic storytelling with wuxia martial arts and is available for PC, PlayStation 5 and mobile. The Heng Blade is just one part of the latest update, so now it's the best time to jump in. And it's even free to play. You can find a link in the video description. But now on to the crafting. To start the painting, I cleaned up the leftover glue, heat sealed the foam with my heat gun and then began applying one flex bond layer after the other. In total, we brushed on around 5 layers and added even some texture by dabbing on the primer. Now onto the first layer of paint, a dark brown which Benny applied all over the sheesh and grip. He then dabbed on a texture with a brighter brown, and that was pretty much it for this part. The painting was luckily super easy compared to the foam build. Obviously, taping all of the brown areas next was super annoying and took forever, but I think that's the price for working with an airbrush. By the way, you can find links for all products we used in the video description. Once Benny was done with all the golden parts as well, he used a quite interesting technique for weathering. He added a shade of brown and rubbed it off instantly again. The paint remained then only within the lower and engraved areas and made all the details pop really nicely. This made such a difference. Now getting rid of all the tape is always so satisfying, and as you can see, it was indeed a lot of it. Okay, we are almost there. Just a last tape wrap around the grip and Benny applied then a final super thin layer of silver airbrush paint over the blade. This part was actually very scary as the paint has almost the same color as the foam underneath and you don't really see how much you apply. Luckily though, it was just enough so the blade was nice and shiny, but the light still shined through. Next on, Benny fixed the paint job here and there, applied a few details and gave the sheath and sword some pretty gemstones. And last but not least, I sealed the whole paint job with a few thick layers of matte spray varnish. We were not completely done though yet, as the grip was still missing some last details. I attached here some pretty golden threads and beads and finished everything with those little tassels I found in a local fabric supply store. And well, that was it. This was the finished Heng Blade from Where Winds Meet. The weapon is absolutely gorgeous in the game, but I think it's just as pretty in reality. We are incredibly proud of the result and hope you enjoyed it just as much as we did. Thanks so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I am so happy that I actually added LEDs to the sword because I think LEDs just make everything better, even the gorgeous Heng Blade. And if you want to get into crafting yourself, please check out our cosplay crafting books and costume patterns because we absolutely love supporting and inspiring the community. I think they're super helpful and we have like so many of them. So thanks so much for your support. Also, please let me know if you have any questions. I always love to help you guys, and let me know if you have any feedback or anything else. And if you don't know what to write, please write down Corgi to join the Corgi squad and support us with the mysterious YouTube algorithm. And surely also a huge thank you to the sponsor of this video, Where Winds Meet. Please check out the game, it looks absolutely amazing. It's free to play and it's super fun. Please check it out, link in the video description down below. Thank you! And last but not least, thanks a lot to our amazing Patreons for their ongoing support. And finally, like and subscribe, hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of our upcoming videos. And if you didn't saw it so far, please check out my animated LED video in case you want to turn your next project into a Christmas tree as well. And now, bye bye, see you very soon.